boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this. It would seem that Puerto Rico's own Crystal Rosado is set to return to action early next year on the undercard of Serrano versus Cruz on the island of Puerto Rico against Canada's own Tania Walters, 38 years old, 15 years older than Crystal Rosado, who's 23. Both fighters are orthodox fighters. This fight is scheduled for 6 rounds in the women's bantamweight division. Bantamweight, that's where Shernika Johnson holds all the alphabet titles and where Dina Thorsland holds the Ring Magazine and lineal status. That is also where Ebony Bridges is going to be fighting, Shannon Courtenay is going to be fighting. Should Crystal Rosado prove successful early next year, is she in the running for a fight with either of those fighters, sporting a professional record of 7 wins with 1 loss and no draws, 2 knockouts, having never been knocked out in 8 professional bouts. Her opponent, Tania Walters, sports a similar record, similar number of fights, 7-3 with no draws, 2 knockouts, having never been knocked out in 10 professional bouts. Last in action in May of this year opposite the ring Delphine Mancini, who she stopped in the 6th round of a contest scheduled for 10, currently on a 3-fight winning streak. After having dropped a decision to Philadelphia's Liana Cruz in November of 2023, she's fought 3 times since then and won 3 times since then.
No, she's fighting Crystal.
Will Crystal Rosado be able to handle this assignment? Well, Amanda Galle was able to handle it. Miyamoto, Liana Cruz, they were able to handle it. So if they could handle it, I think that Crystal will be able to handle it. Coming right off the loss to Sharita Metcalf. I saw that fight, and I gotta be honest that I think that Crystal was robbed. Over the years, Sharita Metcalf has developed a penchant for being awarded decisions that she really didn't deserve, like what we saw in the Melissa Parker fight,
The Miyo Yoshida rematch, and the more recent Crystal Rosado fight. I don't know why the judges are often so generous to Sharita Metcalf in fights that looks a lot like she's losing. Whatever the case, Crystal Rosado is now on the bounce, on the rebound, and she's going to be facing Tania Walters. I think she's going to win.
MVP has a proliferation of top talent in the bantamweight division. You will notice they've got prospects, they've got contenders, they've got former champions and current champions, both of them, to the point where there's no meaningful fight in the bantamweight division they shouldn't be able to make, and I believe that applies to Crystal Rosado, because if you're in the same division, under the same promotional banner as both Ebony Bridges and Shannon Courtenay, there's no reason you shouldn't be able to get fights with them. At some point down the line, Crystal is at that point. She needs to be fighting former champions and top contenders en route to an alphabet title. Now, I don't think she's ready to fight for a title here and now. I think she needs a little bit more time in the oven.
A little bit more seasoning.
If she wins the Tania Walters fight, I wouldn't mind seeing her fight Shannon Courtenay. I wouldn't mind seeing her fight Ebony Bridges. I think those are both sensible and sensical fights against former champions for an up-and-comer. For now, she's got to take care of Tania Walters. I believe that she's going to look for the ring return of Crystal Rosado early next year on the undercard of Serrano versus Cruz 2. In men's junior middleweight news, you may have heard a day or so ago that Virgil Ortiz versus Boots Ennis talks launched in a 6-hour session. LA, formal talks to stage an appetizing junior middleweight bout pitting the unbeaten in their prime contenders, Virgil Ortiz of Texas and Philadelphia's Jaron Ennis, kicked off on Tuesday as the sides committed to renew acquaintances in short order. According to 2 officials with familiarity of the session, it lasted 6 hours, with each side presenting their positions and needs, while talking through some steps to accelerate this over the next 10 days, finalizing a bout between the WBC interim champion Ortiz and recent unified welterweight champion Ennis for a proposed date in March would be a tremendous Christmas present to the fight fans.
Are we optimistic?
I'm not. I'm taking a I've got to see it to believe it approach when it comes to these negotiations and whether or not they will be fruitful, whether or not we'll actually get a fight out of this, because between now and March, there's plenty of time for this to fall apart. Ortiz's promoter, Oscar De La Hoya, maintained in comments immediately after Ortiz's last fight that his fighter deserves the larger cut. And one official on Tuesday reported the talks repeated that notion, since Ortiz has fought stiffer competition in succession: Lubin, former WBA champion Israel Madrimov, and former WBC interim champion Sergey Boachuk.
Wants to be the A side.
Golden Boy Promotions president Eric Gomez, who represents Ortiz, said at the recent WBC convention in Bangkok, Thailand, that he believed an imminent deal was possible, with Ortiz ultimately seeking his first world title against WBC champion Sebastian Fundora later next year. The teams of Ortiz and Ennis presented options to bring the talks closer to reality, and one individual told Boxing Scene there were times negotiations got heated, but said that's expected considering where they are. If it was bad and had no chance, I would tell you, the individual said. Deals like this do not get done in a day.
Isn't that what they gave Xander Zayas?
So it looks like they're trying to do this fight on their own. That it's not Turkey El Sheikh kicking out the money for this fight. They're going to try to do it the old-fashioned way, and thus I don't expect this to happen or happen in a jiffy. You got a Saudi Arabian financier who's willing to pay well above market value for a fight to a fighter. A lot of things are possible, but when you have to do things the old-fashioned way...
Sounds like it's the zone bankrolling this.
And it sounds like what I talk about all the time. These fighters have always got it in their heads that they're supposed to get more money irrespective of the commercial value of a show. That people in the boxing business always say that boxing is a business, but their demands never make any business sense. So now what I'm left wondering is, when Turkey first tried to put this fight together all those months ago, what did that money look like versus what this money looks like? Because if Virgil now stands to make less than he did before, frankly, I don't think it happens.
When Virgil was said to have accepted the fight and Boots was still at 147, vying for undisputed, what was in the pot then versus what's in the pot now? And if what's in the pot now ain't up to scratch, we ain't got a match. I don't think this happens. Not between now and March, but we'll see. If you want to be optimistic, be my guest. But boxing has let us down too many times for me to get my hopes up.
Men's heavyweight news. Former champion Daniel Dubois looks at a Joshua rematch as a possibility, saying that's what we'll be looking at, getting back into a big fight. He can't really fight the likes of Usyk and go into a fight with a nobody the next fight.
There's a recent story that Daniel was attached to a potential Frankie Sanchez fight for what was an IBF final eliminator to get him back in line to fight for the red belt. He walked away from that. I don't really blame him. Like I said, Daniel Dubois is one of the somebodies. He's in a place where he don't need to be fighting in eliminators to fight in a big fight, to fight in a meaningful fight. Enough of the work has been done that he's a somebody.
Seems to prefer an AJ rematch to that. Not that Daniel's the one that needs it, because he isn't. It's AJ that needs it, provided he takes care of business later on this month with Jake Paul in short order. And I think that he's going to. Most people do. The fans, the bookmakers.
I could go for Joshua versus Dubois too. Yeah, I could go for that. Some point in the first quarter of next year or early in the second.
Caveat is, if Daniel doesn't have a fight in between now and the time that he fights Anthony Joshua, he's going to be breaking in Tony Sims as a new trainer in that fight, experimenting with that new trainer. The old saying goes, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I was never a proponent of Daniel sacking Don Charles. I think he developed pretty well under Don, well enough that losing the rematch to Usyk shouldn't have been the reason he got a new trainer.
Losing the fight to Daniel seems to be the reason Anthony got one. Remember, he's being trained by Team Usyk now.
Yeah, he's not with Ben Davison anymore. So if they meet in the coming calendar year, they will both have new corners, new trainers, trying new things.
And as stated, Anthony's the one that needs to. Anthony's the one who lost to Daniel. He's the one that needs revenge.
But yeah, I don't mind the idea of a second fight between them. It's still marketable. You do that in the UK, people are going to show up, they are going to buy it. Joshua versus Dubois 2 sells.
I wasn't expecting that at all. You know what I mean? I was like, when I got the call and, you know, my manager and them calling tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? We on the phone, I'm pacing, I'm back and forth. Like I said, it'd probably be, some type of burnt residue in my rug right now because of me going back and forth and stuff. I thought I smelled smoke, but yeah, I was excited though. I really was excited, and I was overwhelmed, with joy.
Do you want that smoke?
Oh, hell yeah, I want that smoke. I want all that smoke. We're going to make signal out of that smoke, and it's going to be good, We're in negotiations right now. Negotiations are going very well. I just hope and pray that it ends, all ends well as well, and get the fans what they want to see. A lot of people are very excited. They made sure they let me know. And I was like, I had to call my guy, like, man, they are really pumped for this fight. So we'll see what happens,
Deontay Wilder said that he did not expect to receive that call from Team Usyk for a fight. In truth, I don't think many of us expected that. What would Usyk profit from fighting Wilder now?
What would be the point? Because you have to understand Team Usyk sacrificed the brown belt and surrendered it to Fabio Wortley so they could make room to have a Wilder fight. What makes Wilder a more attractive opponent for them than Flavio?
Fabio's the one that's hot right now. Fabio's the one that's riding high. He's the unbeaten guy, and not that long ago, he was Usyk's mandatory challenger. Why do you surrender a belt to him to go fight Wilder? Wilder's clearly not what he used to be.
I have serious reservations about anyone, Usyk included, that makes it a priority to fight today's Deontay Wilder. He was last in action a few months ago opposite the ring club fighter Tyrell Herndon, and he didn't look good in that fight. He won, he definitely won, and he knocked the guy out, but it was a sloppy knockout, and Wilder just looked flat out there. No snap on the punches, no explosiveness. I've got the same reservations about somebody wanting to fight Wilder that I have about somebody wanting to fight Spence.
Anybody wants to fight those two guys, given where they are right now, is looking for the low-hanging fruit. So is that to suggest that when Usyk bypasses Fabio in favor of a Wilder fight, he's looking for low-hanging fruit? He's looking to get on easy street. Should we criticize him for it?
Usyk has had a storied career as an Olympian, as an amateur, as a professional at cruiser and heavy.
Usyk has seldom ever given me any reason to criticize him, and even now, I'm not sure if I should, because he is facing the end of his career after all.
It's gotta be. The guy's close to 40.
I can't interpret turning down a Wortley fight for a Wilder fight as anything other than looking for the low-hanging fruit. That's how it reads. The question is, should we criticize Usyk for it, as he has no history of doing this?
It's a part of me is thinking that. It's a part of me is feeling that. I'm like, oh, it's okay. All right. But it's refreshing because, I only look at the past of things and people know I still got it. Like I said, physically, I never left. You understand me? So that power was still there, and people would see that and nobody would want to fight. Ain't nobody want to fight. You have few people want to say something, but even still now, you may have certain things because I done had certain fights that I done promoted or we didn't got each other, we didn't did shit and still they don't want to really fight for real. It's just publicity or maybe get clicks and likes on their YouTube or me on their channels and stuff. But for this, this one, I know it's real. You know what I mean? I've been having the conversations, we've been in the talks and stuff, and I love it. I love it to be able to feel confidence enough to see that because they've seen that I've lost and stuff like that. Now they feel like I can get it now. Yeah. I got him. There he is right now, which I love it all day.
Can we do it?
Squad!
Wilder feels that because he's lost a fight or two in recent memory, that's why Usyk has come around to the idea of fighting him.
I don't agree with that.
Usyk made his heavyweight debut in October of 2019, and not but a few months later in February of 2020, Wilder had the second fight with Fury, the one where he lost. There was never actually a time when the stars aligned for Usyk and Wilder to fight, because from the moment that Wilder lost that second Fury fight, he made it his mission to get a third.
And he eventually got it, a year after the second, and then he lost that one too.
And while all of this is going on, Usyk wasn't on Deontay Wilder's radar, so if what he's suggesting is that all of a sudden Usyk wants to fight him because he started losing fights, well, buddy, you've been losing fights from the moment he debuted as a heavyweight.
Been losing fights for the last 5 years. The 2 fights to Fury, the one to Joseph Parker, the other one to Zhilei Zhang.
But I thought you said that Usyk targeting Wilder is Usyk looking for the low-hanging fruit?
Yeah, sort of, except that Wilder's been low-hanging fruit the whole time Usyk's been at heavyweight. It's not something that all of a sudden happened. Usyk's heavyweight debut and Wilder's shellacking at the hands of Tyson Fury happened within months of each other. Wilder didn't all of a sudden start getting beat up. He's been getting beat up for the better portion of the last 5 years. Why does Usyk want to fight him? Maybe it's because he was one of the somebodies of that crop of heavyweights: Fury, AJ, Parker, Wilder.
Sort of like how when you play in GTA and you did all the major missions, so now you do the side missions, the side quests, as a bonus. Maybe that's how he looks at Wilder.
Who's supposed to be paying for this?
I don't know, because between the money that Usyk has made fighting Anthony Joshua 2 times, fighting Daniel Dubois 2 times, and Tyson Fury 2 times, he's not going to fight on the cheap anymore. I remember hearing Eddie Hearn say that a part of the reason he's not going to fight Fabio Wortley is because Turkey isn't paying for it, and Usyk isn't going to fight for low money.
Okay, then who's supposed to pay for this? Is Turkey paying for it?
Usyk doesn't have a big-time promoter behind him, and these days, neither does Deontay Wilder. So if somebody's putting it together, it's got to be somebody with big money. For Usyk to be the one to initiate the dialogue, they must already have a financier. Now, as far as the fight itself, you could only really give Deontay Wilder little more than a puncher's chance. That his best weapon is the straight right hand or the right cross, where Usyk is a southpaw. It's often said that the straight right hand is a southpaw killer, but that still requires snap on the punches. That still requires timing and reflexes, more than I think Deontay Wilder has at this late stage in his career. If he couldn't find his right hand in the Joseph Parker fight, who was standing right in front of him for 36 minutes, it's a little hard to imagine he's going to find it with Usyk.
Couldn't find his right hand with Joseph Parker. He couldn't find his right hand with Zhilei Zhang. He's a southpaw, like Usyk is a southpaw, but a bigger, slower target. Wilder couldn't find his right hand with him. So, against Usyk,
it's hard not to pick Usyk to win the fight. It's hard not to pick Usyk to knock Deontay Wilder out. You know what Usyk does? He wears these guys down, round after round, peppering them with punches and exhausting them, where Wilder never had that good an engine to begin with.
It's not going to be much better now that he's in his 40s.
So early guesstimates, I would go with Usyk to stop Deontay Wilder sometime after the midway point. He's going to step around him, hit him in the blind spots, pepper him with punches, be busy, and push a pace that doesn't favor Deontay Wilder. And I think he finishes him sometime in round 7 or 8.